Hi everybody, my name is Andrew Kinch and I'm the founder of GameAware. Today I'd like to try and demystify esports for parents and for schools. What are esports exactly? Well, esports are essentially video games that are designed to be played competitively with the possibility of spectatorship. While all esports are video games, only some video games are considered esports. And from a motivational perspective, gamers who seek competence and mastery are drawn towards esports if they're driven to compete. These motivators are very similar to what we see with traditional sports. But there seems to be a hesitation by parents and schools to accept esports into their community. Esports are largely misunderstood because problematic and passionate gaming can actually look very similar. And fair enough if that's a point of concern for you. Because it will lead to a sense of concern if you don't quite understand what's going on yet. The fear here seems to be that if we're encouraging esports, that we might be encouraging video game addiction as well. But we don't really have that kind of problem with soccer, do we? We don't fear the addiction to soccer by encouraging it. So there's something to wrap our heads around here because there are some similarities and differences to consider. Parents and schools who understand a child's passion for esports are going to be able to find a lot more opportunities to engage them in well-being outcomes and connectedness and also academic and learning outcomes. Once you engage a student through esports, you now have a platform for real conversations about healthy gaming and the benefits of competition in this space. Comparing traditional sports and esports is always an interesting task. We do know that in traditional sports, there's about a 5,000-year-old history. Traditional sports use the physical fitness component that esports really doesn't. They push the limits of human physical performance. There's also these built-in regulators to prevent overtraining called fatigue and injury. Both will actually require a lot of resilience and concentration to reach the peak level of performance though. And it requires a lot of self-discipline to train because of the physical discomfort and pure effort that come with physical activity. Esports are a little bit different. They have a lot more similarities than differences though. And they're an easy way to access that human drive to compete. Esports can teach many of the skills that we rely on traditional sports to teach our kids. And they don't quite have the same built-in regulators of fatigue and injury, although fatigue and injury still have an impact on performance, and that's important to consider. They require concentration and resilience to reach the peak performance of it in terms of esports athletes and what they can do, and require self-discipline to prevent overtraining, so it's a little bit different. Because the nature of game design and the accessibility of games encourage us to use them more than what we should in many cases. So it's a different kind of self-discipline. Both traditional sports and esports offer great opportunities for growth when done in a structured and purposeful fashion though. So if you're a parent and you've got a child that says, I want to be a professional gamer, what do you do? Kids wanting to be professionals at the hobbies that they love is not a new idea. We know that kids have wanted to become musicians or athletes or dancers or chess players, team sports, individual sports, all of these things for ages now. And if you're going to compare a professional gamer, then we have to look at the competitive side as well as the entertainment side. So pro gamers are like athletes. They get contracts, there's tournament winnings, there's practices, there's performance under pressure. Pro streamers are a little bit different, where they're a lot more like buskers. So they're entertaining for donations and they're trying to make people laugh, essentially. So the thing is, you can game for a lot longer than you can run with exhaustion or injury, without exhaustion or injury. And the secondary consequences are a lot easier to ignore, but they are certainly there. So kids who see professional gamers can often confuse what's actually required to succeed with the idea of not having to work a real job. Professional gamers have also been role modeling excessive gaming as the only pathway to the professional level for a very long time. But we don't believe that this is necessary, nor is it sustainable. So with the right kind of encouragement and structure, it could be a great idea to support your child's dream of becoming a professional gamer, but left unmonitored, it could present a lot of problems. Developing players at the grassroots level for competitive play is probably a really important topic for me. I think that we need an esports player development pathway, and it needs to be done through schools. So the safe and sustainable path to the Olympics or into a career in gaming needs to start with more structure than what we currently see now. So currently, kids are just discovering that they have talent when they're playing their game. And that would be okay if it didn't encourage the grind mentality, which essentially is the belief that playing more is better, but that also conveniently matches with someone who just wants to overindulge in video games for long periods of time. So that confuses lines around competition and leisure. The way to course correct the current pathway is certainly through education, though. Performance coaching in esports has a big role to play here, as it has the opportunity to teach balance and other important self-development concepts that are required for athletes of all kinds to change their relationship with their sport from casual to competitive. Education in this space can give schools and parents the confidence that they need to accept esports into their school culture. So how do we make esports sustainable? Well, it's got to be a safe pathway to compete, in my opinion. And I would say that the esports industry has been building the ship while sailing it for a long time, enabling this grind meta that we see now. We need a culture shift that determines what the best practice is to build someone's game and minimize the direct and indirect harms that come with overplaying. Step 1 would be healthy gaming education in high schools with a heavy focus on understanding motivation. Step 2 would be to leverage esports engagement to deliver educational outcomes in a variety of subject areas. Step 3 would be setting up a social gaming club at your school that supports player development from an esports perspective, but also just student development in a social setting. Gaming is a very safe space for autistic and other socially anxious young people to socialize, because it acts like a buffer as well as a common point to rally around and create meaningful real-life social experiences. Step 4 would be to engage with high school esports leagues that mirror the traditional high school sports pathways in a structured competition. One difference with esports is that students get a lot more opportunities to play in front of a crowd if the event is broadcasted. Students report this as a very special experience and something that traditional athletes don't really get to feel until much later into their careers, if ever. Step 5 would be to explore performance coaching with young players to deter them from the grind mentality. So if we put as much focus on off-screen training as well as on-screen training, we've got the opportunity to teach the high-performance mindset and psychology that's required to reframe esports into a healthier and more balanced activity. We've seen this as very beneficial in the professional level, where player-focused approaches lead to better results and to happier players. A big part of that list was starting a gaming club at your school. So how do you do that? The first thing I would do is find your teacher champion. It's very likely now that you'll find at least one teacher who plays a bit of video games in your school. Then you want to find a lunchtime space for once or twice a week. You want to involve your IT manager for support. You want to survey your students and gather data on what the best games are to play and what equipment is available and what esports they might be interested in playing as well, because not all leagues have the same games. Then you want to try and enter competitions against other schools. And if you're a parent in this space, whether your kids want to be professionals or not, you should always take the time to be a teammate instead of an opponent. Your conversations will be much more fruitful this way. You want to support social gaming face-to-face whenever you can, including school gaming clubs and esports teams. These are planned sessions, mind you, not just mindless habitual gaming online, which can also be productive, but face-to-face is better. You want to talk to your kids and make a plan if esports is one of their passions. So what do they actually want from esports? Is it growth or is it overindulgence? We want to support the growth and discourage the mindless habitual gaming with good structure. If you find that you've got kids that are playing to escape as their main motivator, though, reach out to us, because this is certainly an area that we can help with as well. So what can Scholastic Esports do for my kid? Look, you're going to experience leadership, communication skills, sportsmanship, resilience, confidence, school connectedness, and friendship. These are all the things that we rely on sports to do for us, but esports can also do this. Competing in a structured way with purpose within your region or cohort starts to look a lot more like the traditional sports pathway that encourages young people to grow through competition, but also gives them a reality check on where they stand and what their potential is. Whatever the athlete's decision is to proceed, it'll be a much better informed one. And research has also indicated that school esports programs have the potential to bring about positive psychological development and/or healthy behavior change with the right kinds of structure and culture. I want to thank you very much for your time today. If you are considering working with gaming in your school, whether it's in esports or in a healthy gaming capacity, GameAware has a series of different ways of supporting schools. One of them is with coaching incursions and excursions, and the other one is with online courses for healthy gaming and for esports performance. If any of these interest you, please reach out and we'd be happy to have a chat. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next video.